Hi there, this is Tina with Design to a T Handicrafts. Today we're going to look at a project called the 3-in-1 envelope. Now as you can see here, I've got an envelope that's been folded and it is on a journal page, and it has or serves three functions. The first one is that it is on a belly band. The second one is that when you open it up, it has three small pockets inside where you can put tags or any kind of ephemera that you think you could fit in there. And then the third part is the fold-out cards, index cards, where a person could do some journaling. So that's the 3-in-1 envelope journal page, and that's what we're going to go over today, how to do that. Okay, let me set this journal aside, and now I'm going to look at the parts that we need. Now, my journal pages tend to be 8.5 by 11, standard size, folded in half. So I took a piece of cardstock that I wanted, a floral background with some purple and orange. It's got some vintage photo around the edges, and I've already glued on a couple of pieces of lace there that coordinate with the colors. Okay, so that's where we start out at. Now I think you need the cardstock as extra weight to help the page with the use of the envelope and the belly band. Now the envelope I'm using today is a little bit bigger than the one I used last time, and it is about 5 inches by about 7 inches. The other one was a small business envelope that was tea stained, and this one is not stained at all. Okay, so what you do is you fold it in thirds and make sure that when you fold the flap down, that little triangle that's formed in the flap is even, so the fold is obviously going to depend on the size of your envelope. Now I have 2 index cards here, which when they are folded have to fit on that 1/3 of the envelope. So again, whatever piece of paper or index card you use here, you need to make sure that it's going to fit in that fold. And as you can see here, when I fold up the envelope, they don't show on the outside. So that's what you want. And these index cards are the large index cards with blue lines on them. And I've already tea-dyed them. So the colors I'm going to be using today to match with my background are Concord Grape, Rusty Hinge, I'm going to use some vintage photo, and also I'm going to use a little bit of the Timber Brown StazOn ink. Now you can see this envelope has nothing interesting on the inside. Toying here with using a tea-dyed dictionary page, but I decided to go with this kind of generic neutral floral paper. And it's not really thick. You don't want too much, you don't want the paper to be too thick because it will hinder its ability to fold. So now I'm using a glue stick off screen. I apologize for that. Got a new camera, a new setup and everything, and I'm just learning how to shoot with it. So you just get that glue on there. You don't need to go too far down in the envelope because obviously you don't want the envelope stuck closed. Put your paper down in there, and I kind of like putting stuff at an angle instead of doing it straight up and down sometimes. So do whatever you see fit to do there. But I like to shove it down in there and then trim off the edges. Again, off screen. Sorry about that. And just cut around the edges, and you're golden. Now, once you've got that paper on there, you're going to want to refold those lines because that paper obviously made it a lot thicker, and you're going to need to reestablish those lines. So don't forget to fold down, fold over, and get that good and flat. Okay, so this would be a really good time to tell you where this idea came from. I belong to a group called the Paper Outpost Facebook group, and it is run by the founder, Pam, who has the Paper Outpost YouTube site. And she is a fantastic journaler. She makes wonderful things. She has so many tutorials. I cannot recommend her enough. So I will have links down in the description below on how to find the Facebook group and her YouTube channel. So this was an idea in response to a challenge that Pam gave out on our Facebook group to take a single envelope and make 3 things out of it. So this was my idea. Now I'm sure somebody's done it before. Everything's been done before, but I've never seen it done before. So I thought I'd just throw a video up so other people could see how to do it. So here you can see I'm looking at the size of the envelope on the ribbon, and this is a little bit bigger, but not too much bigger, I don't think. The other one was a lot smaller. You want to use your judgment as far as the ratio of the size of the envelope and its width to the size of the ribbon that you're using. You want to make sure that it's big enough to secure it, but that it's not so small. Like the other envelope was awfully small, so it was pretty hard to work with. Okay, this is where I'm going to start coloring the envelope and getting it ready to match the rest of the page. Okay, so I did that off screen because I don't want to waste your time. But you can see it now. Looks like it's been through some stuff. I like that vintagey look. And those were already tea stained, so I'm not going to do much with those, I don't think. So the key to the index cards is they're folded in a Z pattern so that they fold outward. And again, just to remind you again that needs to fit in that 1/3 fold. Okay, and that needs to fold out on the other side. And for my purposes, I wanted the blue lines that show on only one side to be part of the fold that shows when it's pulled out. So I'm going to glue that on there. Realize, don't put it on the envelope first, put it on the card first, then glue that down, because it's not going to cover, in my case, it's not covering the entire 1/3 of the envelope, just the back of the card. So it makes sense. And I'm putting it as far as close to the edge of the corner as I can, because there's got that little bit, you can see that tiny little corner that sticks up over the opening of the envelope. And I wanted to, limit that as much as possible. And if you didn't get to see the glue stick all that well, it is Elmer's all-purpose glue stick. I think I got it at Office Max or something like that. Okay, so just finishing gluing that to the envelope. Making sure it's nice and flush to that far right side. And they're both tucked down on all the little corners. Okay, so this envelope gets folded and unfolded a lot, and I found that it was probably a good idea to use some kind of reinforcement. So I had some pretty orange washi tape, and I am going to put it over the seams on the inside there, and I always reinforce the stickiness of my washi tape with my glue stick or some other glue, because I don't trust washi tape to stay. I don't care how good it is. It's just not sturdy enough for me, because I'm a glue fanatic. So then once you get it, you want to trim it so that it's correct there. And eventually what you're not going to see here is that, see how that's overlapped the large pocket in the envelope? Well, I eventually cut it so that the whole pocket can open together. And I did that because although it's nice having 3 little pockets, you may want the whole pocket, and I didn't want to restrict the movement of the envelope that much. I just liked having it open. So you can do it either way. You can leave it all one piece there, like I just did, like you just saw, or you can cut it open. It's up to you. So now, on the original, I had some stamping on the index cards, so that's what I've got here. I'm just using the StazOn ink in the corners to kind of emphasize the cards. And then I also had a little stamp in the middle bottom panel. So in this case, I want to put a flower down there. And let's take a look at our original real quick. So you can see some stamps on them. And then notice there, that one I used a button closure. I do not recommend that. It was extremely difficult. If anyone is interested, though, let me know. I might could do something about that. But this one I'm going to use something much simpler, like a flap or something. So right now I think I'm looking at, I'm looking at reinforcing seams on the outside. But when the pocket or the envelope is closed, you want the tape to line up evenly so it doesn't look weird. So I had to kind of figure out on what seams and edges I wanted that tape to make it look balanced once it was folded. And you'll see what I'm talking about here. So I put it on that far right side, or actually it would be the left side when it's flipped over. And then I'm just trimming it down, making sure it's nice even edge. And then, again, I'm a little bit off screen here, so I apologize. So then, see how that's folded down? You can't see it, but then you get some showing on the other side. So you do need some on the other side. And, again, it doesn't hurt to reinforce those seams that are going to get open and closed so many times. If I sound a little raspy, I apologize. It's really late at night and I'm pretty tired. It's been a long day. So now you can see when it is folded, you see a little bit of orange on the one side, a little bit of orange on the other. Okay, so yeah, and here I am doling down the orange tape. It's a little too bright, so I'm putting some vintage photo on there. So you see I put on the far left and the two middle seams. And that seems to make it look balanced when it's all folded up. There you go. So now you can see it. Okay, so taking a look at this again. Okay, I still have to do the inserts, right? And I'm showing you where I had actually sewn a button on the inside of the envelope in the bottom left third of the envelope. And I cannot even emphasize how much of a pain that was. So I'm like, I'm not doing that again. So, okay, so what am I going to do here? The other one, I did have a big pretty flower on there. And so I have this pack of papers that has an African violet in it. And I thought, oh, I want to use that. But the other one was fuzzy cut. And I don't want to fuzzy cut this. I think I'm just going to use this tag. So I cut the tag out to fit, how much of that flower can I get on there? So I'm just kind of trying to estimate how to get the flower on there. And I end up kind of drawing a line around it, flipping it over, drawing a line where I need to cut, cutting that out, because I want that whole flap to be decorated. Oh, I'm going to also color it just a little bit because, I don't want it too clean because the rest of the envelope is vintage, vintage looking. So that needs to be a little roughed up and stuff. So putting some color on that. Okay. And then I had this large flower cut out, but it didn't extend down far enough on the envelope. So now I'm going to take that same paper and use an oval cutter, and it's very, very old, and it seriously gave me grief. I think I got this with a big bag of different types of these things at a thrift store, and they're very dull. Okay, so once I got an oval finally cut out, I had a little flap cutter here that you can kind of see, and in order to get the flap cut on the top third of the oval, I had to fold the oval, the bottom third down. So then you see me doing the clip and then unfolding it, and then now I have my slot in the top third of the oval. So now the oval reaches down far enough that it looks balanced composition-wise, and the slot for the tip of the envelope is in the right place. So now I'm gluing that down, and it is, there you go, and you just got to make sure you don't get any on the little slot semicircle area that you cut out. And that works nicely. Just kind of moving it around, making sure I get it in the right place before it starts to dry. Now, I decided that it was just still too plain because I could never leave well enough alone. So I get out my Concord grape, and I have two different little flower stamps, and I'm just kind of alternating the flower stamps. And there's my kitty. Oh, she's returned, and she wants to play because it's midnight, Mommy, and that's when I always want to play. But Mommy's busy. So throw the ball, make her run away. And now I'm getting out my ripe persimmon. Love, love, love this color, but it is very, very bright. And then alternating, kind of in the in-between spaces where I had the purple flowers, I'm putting these orange flowers. That's on the outside. Oh, there she is back again. You're probably going to see a lot of her if you watch my videos. She's my craft rim companion. Okay, now I'm doing the inside. And I am extending those flowers somewhat down onto the index cards just to kind of lead the eye to the cards. But I'm not going too far into them because I want to leave the space for writing. So here you can see closer the flower stamping. Okay, so now I'm going to take this. The glue has dried on my lace, long since dried, and now I'm going to use my new home Genome. I call it my baby sewing machine because it's for children. I think it's a starter, simple as you can't get any simpler than this. And for me, who never had to sew anything and never was taught, that's what I needed. So I sewed on the ends and then I just trimmed off the extra lace that was there, and all I did was a zigzag stitch back and forth. So it's really on there good. So now I'm going to glue the envelope on there. But I didn't think about the fact that, oh my goodness, I haven't done the tags yet, but that's okay. So what you just saw there was me pulling out my Beacon 3-in-1, and I have it sitting upside down in a half a plastic bottle, and that's how I keep it because I'm near the end of the bottle and I want to get that, just use every drop of it that I can. So using that water bottle to keep it in while I'm working is a perfect solution to keep it ready to go. Okay, so now that I've got the glue on there, I've really glued that really heavily. I'm going to put these pencils to hold the lace up off the cardstock so I don't want it to stick. So once I've done that, I need to add some decoration to the lace, and I need that to get to dry before I can do my inserts for the inside. So I had two colors. They're liquid pearls, pearlescent, and this is like an orangey peachy type color. I find it looks good with a lot of different oranges and peaches. So I'm going to use that one, and I had a goldish one, but I decided not to use that one. So all I did was put a drop, and you really can't see this all that well. I put a drop up near the stitching and then one down near the envelope, and I'm going to do exactly the same at the bottom, right in the middle of the purple lace. And I decided not to use the gold. And then I decided let's look at these little plastic purple gems, and I had some dark ones and some light ones. So put the dark one on there temporarily, the light one on there, and took a look at them and said, that's the dark one, that's the light one. I like the dark one. So let's take my 3-in-1 glue again and glue down those babies, partly off screen. But I'm just putting a dot. You can see the shadow there. I'm just putting a dot of glue in the back of that. Okay. All right. Now we're going to set that aside because that has to dry. And we're going to start making the 3 tags that go in the inside. Now I have this really pretty paper. Don't ask me from which paper pack. And I had these from a different, like a small ephemera pack, but I don't like the bicycles on the back. They don't have anything to do with the theme I'm going with here. So, and they're a little too large. So I just kind of took my ruler and kind of looked at the folds and the size of the folded envelope and said, okay, let's cut these down. So I cut them all down, and then I cut the gilded writing paper to size, and then glued those on there with an absolute ton of the glue. And then once those are all on there, I took a corner clipper and rounded the corners. And that thing, you should be lucky you should be happy that I did the audio after the fact, because I tell you what, I was slamming my fist down on that thing to get it to cut. Okay, so I'm just taking a single hole puncher here and punching a hole at the top. And I have some hole protectors here, so I decided to go with these little gold ones. I think you can get these at like Office Max. Or you can just take white ones and color them with your Sharpie. That works too. So I'm just protecting the holes, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to use the string. Now, here's a caveat. The string makes it really bulky. And thinking back on it, I wish I had just glued a little tab or something on the top of them instead. That would have been flatter. But, oh well. So just keep that in mind. Whatever you put on the inside is going to bulk that up. If you put a flower, put string, ribbon, anything like that is going to bulk it up. So I'm just going to put 3 little strings. And this is, again, the string is from like an ephemera pack I bought on sale at Michael's. It's a little white and gold. So that is actually dry pretty quickly. Open up this thing and pray that these bookmarks I just spent all this time on are going to fit. And I guess I didn't show it here, but those were all inked. One of them was inked with the Rusty Hinge, one was inked with the Concord Grape, and the other was inked with the Vintage Photo. And it's all done. So you can insert this, you can glue it down, you can sew it. It's all up to you. Thank you for watching, and I hope you come back soon because I'm going to have some new videos coming out very soon. Thanks.